Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Dan's Veggie Patch. This time around, I've got housekeeping that's overdue that I take care of. I get a visit from some old friends, and I may be doing well enough to sell. So stick around. Okay, well, we had some housekeeping we had to do. I see a rabbit down there. And so we took care of it. Let's see how it went. This morning I had some housekeeping to do. I had to thin the kohlrabi and actually the turnips, and we'll take a look at those. Yeah, I probably waited too long, but I try to thin them out and transplant some of the ones that were too close to kind of space them out a bit. Of course, the bed looks pretty rough right now. I gave it a good watering after I did all that. But they're pretty much a good range apart. I put an actual whole row in the middle. So we'll see how many of these survive. Hopefully we'll do okay. And let's take a look at the turnips now. Actually, we'll just go through the cabbage here. Cabbage is looking good. And the turnips. Turnips, I am told, or heard, or something, that they don't transplant well at all. But hey, I don't know any better, so I did it anyway. So I tried to fill in some of the thin spots and really thin them out into sort of rows, 4 inches or so apart. But I do get a little side benefit of that. I got 2/3 of a bucket of nice tender turnip greens. Delicious. Here's the kohlrabi, and this is remember I transplanted some of these into rows how many days ago now? I forgot, 4 or 5 days ago. But the row came back fairly well. That looks okay. I have real actual live turnips. This is the row I'm growing 4 turnips and not greens. And they're looking good. Now you'll notice on the tomatoes, I have not 1 but 2 strings coming from each one going up. And that's because I watched a video that Charles Dowding has done. And he was talking about tomatoes. Actually, he was talking about eggplants at the time. And one of his interns, or students, I guess he said, was from Germany, and passed on to him that in Germany, what he was doing, what he saw, is that they do a side shoot of eggplants about 10 or 12 inches up off the ground, let one of the side shoots develop, so you'd actually have the main 2 main shoots growing. And so he would put 1 up each string. I will do that to the eggplants when I get them going, but I also wanted to try it on the tomatoes just for fun. See how the yield goes doing that with tomatoes. So that's why you see so many strings on my tomatoes. Okay, time to sow a few more things. And I'm going to try a little experiment here. You remember these seed trays that I complained so much about the first time around? Flimsy plastic, blah, blah, blah. What I'm going to do, take a pair of scissors and cut the bottoms off of them. There's a little slit in them already, but I want to take the whole bottom out of them. Okay. So hopefully that'll make it a lot easier to get the plugs out when it's time, instead of having to wrestle and fight with them that way. So what I'm planning on doing is sowing. I got beets, I got onions, I got leeks, I got some perennial flowers, maybe some herbs too. But I'm going to get that started. I'm not going to get the lettuce started quite yet, but it won't be too long before I get that started again the next round. So I'm going to get started doing that. medium. I think I'll put some beets, some onions, and some leeks in. These are the same Boldor beets I sowed a couple months ago. Doing them the same way, multi-sowing. Well, I wound up with enough seed to do 24 cells, that is, not 24 beet cells. Two leeks. Another little black seed. Talked about these last time. I think some get 3, some get 6, some get 7. It'd be hard to sow onions from this because I'm empty. Let's try some home-saved bell peppers. Got the seeds here. I'll just put 2 seeds per cell. And when they start growing, I'll just keep the stronger one.
There's only one spot open right now, so we're gonna have tryouts.
You want something fun to do when the wind's blowing? This isn't it. Okay. Off to the cold frame. Just as a check, I flipped this pile, I think 5 days ago. Didn't think it would do much heat-wise. But it's pushing 100 degrees right now, so there's stuff going on in there. Snow peas are looking good. I do have some. I do not have many snow peas, so I don't think they're going to be making the trip this week. Although they're looking pretty good, but maybe in another couple weeks I'll have enough. I got plenty of turnip greens, so I'll be making bags of that. Of course, I'll have plenty of lettuce. Lettuces are looking wonderful. Just come up here. Even the Paris Cos, the few plants that I have are fewer than the 24. They're all looking really good. So they're fine. I'll have enough spinach for bags. I'll be able to harvest some of these radishes. I believe they'll be okay. Some of them are pretty old, so they may be a split. Onions, I may take some for salad onions, just get a couple of bundles. All right, snaps. I will get enough of a harvest to sell some at the farmer's market this week. From the snaps, they're looking pretty good and healthy. I've already had some calls for them off the Facebook page. People are already asking if I have a bushel, and no, I don't have a bushel. My garden is not quite big enough for that, but I will have some. So I've kind of mocked up what I think I'm going to need at the farmer's market. We got a table underneath with a gingham tablecloth. Got to look nice and homey, right? Country type stuff. Got a yard sign for out at the road. Plus my banner. Mesh so the wind goes through it. You know what this makes me feel like?
Oh, I started using GLH about 4 months ago after my barber told me I'd never grow any more hair.
I built a set of risers for each table. I'm going to have 2 tables. And so these will be in the middle and I'll have my stuff around it. I'm going to have the produce. Of course, when I have enough, I'll have more. But I got little labels on these self-seal bags. I'm going to use those for now. People can't forget me. I've got my cash box. I've got my plastic card reader. What else do I need? Oh, the most important thing. Well, that's it from the veggie patch for this time. Next time I'll likely be reporting in my results from the farmer's market, where I'm likely to have said, "Wow!" And it's a good idea to check the air in your spare. See you next time. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Dan's Gravel Patch, where we got a couple of intruders here. This is where I was sowing my lettuce 3 months ago, back in February, and must have been a little sloppy, but these couple of seeds took advantage. Apparently the conditions aren't bad right here. And not only that, I've got a brassica of some sort right next to it. So maybe I should have planted everything over here instead of making that whole garden. Well, looks like we got our first critter getter of the season here someplace. This is underneath the she shed. Not sure where it is though, it's probably inside, relaxing.